Okay, so yeah, we're just a little bit late, but Sam is already here. So let me introduce him again. Um, Hicham Alaoui, or Sam, is his teacher from Morocco with more than 20 years experience teaching different levels, different languages, and in different countries. He will be talking about the art of being a lazy teacher.
Hey, thank you, Eli. Thank you, Alicio. So, hi, can you hear me? Not sure if I can see
Yeah,
anybody.
pretty clearly.
All right, perfect. So let me start. From you to this. Okay, so I'm Hicham Alaoui. Uh, my friends call me Sam. I'm from Morocco, as Ellie explained earlier. I have been working as a teacher and teaching many levels, from preschool to junior high school. And today I'm here to tell you a story. So, but I got some pictures to go through it. So let me see. Can I share my screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it clearly
All
now.
right. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'll try to rush through it a little bit quicker than I intended since I started a little late. Sorry about that. So, um, I want to start with a little story about my mom. Actually, when I decided to come to Japan, my mother was so against it. She was like, "No, you cannot go there. You'll die." I was like, "Mom, this is Japan. It's not. I'm not going to the West, like Sahara or something." And she was like, "No, you can't do anything by yourself. You cannot cook. You cannot. You don't even wash your clothes. You don't brush your teeth until I say so. You don't make your bed. You can't do anything on your own." I was like, "Mom, trust me. I'm an adult." I was, by the way, full disclosure, I was 27. So still, my mother didn't believe in me, and she was like, "No, you're the laziest person I know. So you cannot do anything on your own. In Japan, people work hard and they work all the time, and you'll just die there." And I'm like, "No, mom, trust me." Anyways, as you can see, I'm here. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that what my mom didn't know is that laziness is, for me, is a way of life. It's not just uh, not being able to do things, just choice. So there are a few lessons learned from this little story. So the first thing is, Mom, I'm still alive. So, and that was 10 years before, by the way. So I'm still here. The second thing is that what she didn't realize that you can do a lot of things with the minimum effort. Like you don't need to spend a lot of energy to do basic things or like even advanced things. The third thing is that actually laziness can have huge benefits. Let me quote Bill Gates. So Bill Gates once said, like, he would always hire a lazy person to do a difficult job. And when he was asked why, he said that a lazy person will find an easy way to finish the job. So I actually believe that he's right in this case, and living proof of it, let's say. So let me link it now to teaching. So how does that link to teaching? Here's the thing. Like teachers, like most of teachers, do care about their kids. They try their best for their students. They really try like to teach them the best way they can, prepare all best material for them, find the best way to teach them, and so on. And the thing is, some teachers, in order to fulfill that, they would have a new target every time. So they will try to teach that target to their kids. And on top of that, they will prepare a new game for those students too. So every time they go to the class, like before the class, they prepare the new game so the kids will be motivated and excited and they will try something new. And then the new target, so they will learn something new. Students, teachers also try to push as much knowledge as they can. So they would try while they're teaching them. Uh, phonics. They will try to teach them writing as well, so they can learn how to write it. They will teach them they'll teach them words that are starting with that letter, and then they will branch off and then tell them about, like, for example, they teach them lion, and then they'll tell them about lions and where do they live, and they live in Africa, and then show them some pictures of lion, and then they will tell them that lions are cats as well, and then show them tigers, and did you know that tigers are cats, and then they keep going. And so they want the kids to know as much knowledge as possible, and they try to push as much knowledge as possible in the little time they have with the kids. And third thing is that teachers prepare a lot. Like some teachers especially would like prepare tracing sheets for the kids to trace on. They'll prepare coloring sheets for the kids to learn about the colors. They'll prepare crafts so the kids will practice and then use those colors and then make something really nice to take to their parents, and then the kids will be excited about the things that they do in the class and will be happy to learn and so on. And then the fourth thing is we literally, by we I mean many teachers, spoon feed the kids, like when it comes to knowledge, or even like literally like in kindergartens where the kids spend the whole day, teachers would come and then try to make the kids eat, and if they don't want to eat, they will just hold the spoon and then just try to feed them so the kids will be healthy and then will not be hungry and can focus and then can be energetic enough. Here's my issue with that. I do not think it's always beneficial. I don't think it's that, like, although the teachers have the best interests of kids in mind, but I do not think the results are that beneficial for the students. Take the first example, what I explained about the games. Like in this case, the students have to learn both a new target language and a new games rules. So they're not just, we're adding complexity to the stuff that they have to learn, and we are trying something that is not proven, like in the new game, for example, that they might be too hard for the kids to learn. And so, like, if the game is too hard and if it's not enjoyable, then of course they will not learn the target language. And so in this case, we condemn the targets for, like, just so we can introduce a new game and the kids can try like something that might be fun or not. So the other thing is, so the second example where the teachers will push too much knowledge, it just overwhelms the students. In many cases, students might think, all right, this is just too hard for me, or I can't keep up. The teacher talks too fast, or I cannot understand, or like English is not for me. I just can't understand what the teacher's saying, and so on. I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but that is a risk that we can run to. Okay, my third example, what I talked about preparing crafts and coloring sheets and so on, is that my problem with that is that we encourage more copying and less recalling. Students do not, like when they trace, they do not to recall the letters or the numbers. They do not to use blue for the sky, use yellow for the sun, use the rainbow colors to color the rainbow, and so on. And so in this case, so they're practicing the colors, but that's it. Like they're not imagining, creating, and so on. So although it's not our target, but we still have to encourage as much as possible them creating, recalling, and learning as many skills as possible. The same goes for the craft, actually, because if we want the craft to look nice, we prepare everything, we give it to the kid, they put a few stickers, and then that's done. It looks beautiful. We pass it to the parents. Parents are happy. Kids think that they did something great. But did they learn, like, how many skills did they learn there? How much practice did they put in it? And I think I would rather give them, like, have them do everything by themselves, cut by themselves, and then it will look way worse than it is, than if the teachers prepare it. But it will definitely give the students a better chance to practice. And then my fourth example was the spoon feeding. And in my opinion, that it just encouraged dependency, and the students will not try on their own. They will think, okay, I can't do this. I'll just wait for the teacher to help me or show me, and so on. So that might be also hurtful on the long run, and it's not going to be the best in the best interest of the students. There's an American author, Forster. An author said once, spoon feeding in the long run teaches us nothing but the shape of the spoon. Basically, it doesn't teach us how to eat. It doesn't teach us uh, how to do things. It just teaches us the shape of the spoon. All right. So now that we talked about that, let's go back again to the first slide, and then let's talk about what we can do to improve that, or as I call it, the lazy approach. So for the first one, I do not think it's beneficial for the kids to change the games every time. If the kids like one game, they know the rules well, I'll use the same game over and over to teach the kids the new targets. So my goal is to teach those target languages, and I'll use the games that I know that kids like, enjoy, know the rules, and so on. If I want to introduce a new game, I will not introduce it with new targets. I'll use the targets that the kids already know. I'll use it as I'll review some things that they know already, and then introduce the new games. See if it works, see if the kids love it, and then after they know the rules and so on, I'll use that game to introduce new targets in the future. There's also the fact that I usually try not to burn the game by letting the kids play it until they are tired of it. I always try to stop it in the middle so the kids are still excited and want to play, and I'll tell them, next time we're going to continue this game. They're so excited, and the next time I play it, they're really excited to play. So again, to my second example, where I pushing too much knowledge. So in this case, I always try to focus on my target language. If my target language are the letters of the alphabet, I'll focus on that. I'll not talk about lions and their habitat and that they are carnivores. I'll just focus on the letters and then the anchor words. And if I think my kids can handle a little more, I'll give them a little more knowledge. But if not, I'll just stick to my targets, because one or two kids might be able to follow and focus on what I say, but the others will be just overwhelmed and left behind, and that's not beneficial for the whole class. The third situation where I prepare a lot, I think the best thing to do for the students is giving them more work, letting them do more. You do not need to prepare worksheets. Ask them to get their notebooks and then let them try to recall the letters. You do not need to prepare coloring sheets. You can ask them to draw. You can tell them what you want them to draw, or just let them be creative and draw anything, and they will practice the colors, like coloring and the colors and so on. You do not need to prepare the craft. You can discuss the craft with them and then let them do all the steps. It might look horrible. It doesn't matter. They made it by themselves. They learned through it. The next time they will try, it's going to be better, and so on. You do not even need to tell them what to do. You can discuss with them and see what they want to do, and then maybe do it. The thing is, the more you give them, the more they learn. The less you talk, the more chance they have to talk. And keep your lessons as child-centered as possible, as student-centered as possible, meaning that the students need to discuss between them more, decide, have a say in in the activities, have a say in the way it's done, and so on. The last point is encourage independency. Like, do not spoon feed them. Teach them how to do things. Teach them to work together, and that might help them learn actually faster in the long run. So, the moral of the story. Don't do try. No, actually, the moral of this story is that it's better to work smarter, and that would make you a better teacher. Actually, that was the title of this presentation at the beginning: work smarter, be a better teacher. But I thought, like, the real thing came from my laziness, so I started with that. And I think by creating more opportunities for the students, you can let them do more, and you'll encourage them to do more. And then the second thing that we should always do is that we should encourage creativity. And then the third one, we should focus on the targets, not the activities. So that was my little pitch. I hope you enjoyed it. I think I'm on time. I'm not sure. All right, I'm a little bit behind, but sorry about that. Hey, you guys, if you have any questions or you want to ask something, please let me know. I'm not sure if it's allowed or not because I'm quite late, 5 minutes behind the schedule. And I can't hear anything, surprisingly. I cannot hear you, Ali.
I'm sorry. Could you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, so can we give Sam a round of applause again? There's a question from Johan. What does your mom think of your laziness now?
She still think I'm very lazy. Doesn't judge. She thinks I'm about 5 years old. So when I visit her, she cooks for me and does everything. She even makes the bed.
He also has a comment that when everything I try to do goes wrong, I stop trying to do everything. Good advice.
Yeah, thanks.
Here's a comment from Takako. Your ideas are really helpful and insightful. If you have any questions, you can put them on the chat or you can raise your hand and mute yourselves, and maybe Sam can entertain one or two before we leave for lunch.
Yeah. I think you guys are as lazy as I am. I'm joking. No, you're fine.
We have those days.
Yeah, I know. That's it.
There's a question from Johan. How do you plan a teaching month?
How do I plan what?
A teaching month, like for a whole month, how do you plan
A month. I see. Actually, I do like planning, surprisingly. So I cannot know what to do without a plan. So I just I plan everything in details. I do not write a long, like I do not write. Here are my details. For example, for this one, I wrote this. So this is enough detailed for me. So it has everything that I need, and then the rest I'll just wing it, I'd say. But the thing for the month, at least I need to know how many activities I can do, and I'll put an extra activity or two in case if I finish everything and I need to do something else. I usually never finish the activities that I plan. So, but I also, it really depends on the class and the students. And I try to, like, there is no class with one level. Every class is a multi-level. So what I usually do is that I plan the activity for the middle, like for the majority, let's say, and then I'll have something that is simpler for some students and something that is harder for the other students. I try to make all the students learn at the same time. So I'll give you an example. For example, my target language are 3 letters words, like a cat, dog, and so on. So we're practicing that. So I have some students who don't know the letters yet, and I have some students who are way not behind, but way ahead, and they can read that. So what I usually do is that I'll say, okay, kids, I'll draw a cat, let's say, and then I'll ask them, so what is it? And they'll say cat, and they'll say, okay, so can you write cat? And I'll turn to the kids who cannot write cat, and they'll just say, can you write cat? So they will write only the letter C. And then the majority of the kids will practice writing cat. And then the kids who are ahead of them, I'll ask them to write it's a cat. And I'm doing the same activity at the same time, but I like these things at the same time, but what I'm doing is I'm letting the kids learn a little bit, something that is a little bit ahead of what they know, like a little bit harder than what they know. And I try to make them finish at the same time. So there are no kids who are just waiting for the others. So I always plan it like that. So everybody's doing something that is a little bit challenging for them, and everybody try, like, give or take, finishes at the same time. And then when I write, I'll just write C cat on the whiteboard, so those kids know, and they say, okay, try to correct it, and they'll continue on the right cat. And then at the bottom, I write, it's a cat, is it correct? And then after that, maybe when they get better, I might have some students who are really good. In that case, I'll tell those students, tell you what, write the longest sentence you can before this kid finishes, and something like that. So when I say stop, I'll see how many sentences did you write. Surprisingly, I had a class like that. Surprisingly, we could always manage this, like, finish at the same time. So the kids who wrote the letters were satisfied because they could write that, and I had kids that wrote 3 to 4 sentences at the same time, while those kids are still trying to recall the letters. So it helps a little to. So basically, back to the questions. I'm sorry, I branched off. So I try to plan as much as I can for the majority of the class. I make extra activities, and I make the activities flexible enough so it can accommodate the kids who are not advanced enough and the students who are way advanced compared to the rest of the class. So I hope that answered you. Any
Thank
other
you,
thing?
Sam. So, again, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for coming and listening. We will be back at 1 p.m. and the next presentation will be from Amelia and I will turn this meeting off for about 15 minutes and please sign in again later. Okay? So have a good lunch. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Chris and Mary. Thank you.